This nation should have woken up a lot sooner and realized what was happening. Bet there'd be a lot less curves to be flattening. Got POTUS convinced it was a China thing. Looks more like the marketing scheme for Tiger King. Saying who's Carol Baskin? The question we're asking each other in the self-checkout line in full mask and gloves.
What up, world? It's your boy GM. Back, we got another guest that we've had before, but it's cool because I finally got to have some video with my guy, Bennett Roth-Newell. What's the IG again? Bennett Jazz Keys?
That's right, Bennett Jazz Keys.
There you go.
Yep.
So if you're in the Bay Area, you love jazz music, you know what? It's not just jazz. He doesn't just do jazz music. He does hip hop. He does. When I went to your Halloween concert, I had no idea what I was in store for. I thought that I was gonna go see like a jazz concert, and then it was like hip hop with, you know, there's definitely some jazz to it, but you had a full live band.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you rocked that whole thing, man. I was super proud of you. I got some really cool video from there.
Yeah, some of the stuff you sent, man, I really appreciate.
What?
You caught some footage there.
Yep. No doubt. I got way more too, so I need to send you some. I definitely got to send you some stuff. But what would you know, like, you know, I went with my girl. We had a bunch of fun. It was a really nice date night. What would you say that that music, you know, you do a bunch of different styles of music. You do your traditional jazz stuff.
Yep.
What would you call that type of the music that you make?
I would say it's a fusion of hip hop and jazz.
Okay.
Hip hop jazz fusion, if you wanted to, you know, take it there.
Yeah.
Because I get, you know, the rush of having the live band playing things that originally started out as, you know, studio production.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a really cool transformation, I think, that happens from having to go from being a beat to being live instrumentation, and opening it up to allow any number of folks to improvise on it. So that's where I like to get, you know, the jazz influence coming in, play solos.
Some
crazy
solos.
Yeah,
all you guys,
is.
man.
Thank
you guys
you.
were all killing it.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I like about it to bring hip hop and jazz together is that, to me, I always feel like jazz is the most democratic art form, where there's voices all within the ensemble that each get their opportunities to interact and shine and be showcased.
Definitely.
And provide the, you know, the bounce of hip hop, and provide, you know, kind of the free spirited expression of the art form.
Yeah. So I play a little bit of piano, right? Like a very, very, very low.
I know you get that.
Low skill,
Yep.
right? And I could sing a couple songs with it. You know, it's pretty hard. How hard is it to sit there and have to rock a whole crowd rapping and singing, as well as heading up the whole band playing the keys? How hard? Because most rappers, right, they just gotta sit there, say stuff, and look cool, right? For the most part.
Yeah, or move around the stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? You got a totally different thing going on. I don't think I've really seen that before, rapping and playing the keys like that. So do you find it easier to kind of control the crowd, or do you find it harder than, because you've done some shows where you just rap, right?
Right, yeah.
So is that what do you think is easier to control the crowd with? You know, just
Well, I think there's advantages in both. Certainly not being behind an instrument allows me to get, you know, distance across the stage, you know, whether both north, south, and east, west kind of thing, right? Going, you know, deep back to the stage, going right up at the front, you know, and working sides. So there's that, I think, positive to being just on the mic and doing that. But I think there's also some advantage to being on the keyboard with my setup, and on the mic, is because I feel like I can kind of, in a way, musically orchestrate how I want things to go.
Yeah.
And I feel like I can be maybe a little more complete just as a musician, just as an artist up there, because I can kind of trust either avenue, right? I could trust the vocal side, and I could trust the piano side.
Definitely.
And I think
you don't have to rely on one.
True, yeah. I can let both of them sort of play off each other.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess, you know, for me, I like kind of having that entertainment value, what you were describing, to have, you know, an audience maybe be kind of at the edge of their seats or on their toes if they ain't in the seats, you know, to be like, what will be the driving force in Bennett's music? Is it going to be what he does on piano, what he does in singing a tune or rapping verses, things like that?
Yeah. So speaking of, the audience, for an artist, whether you're in music and comedy, feeding off the energy of the crowd plays a lot into how successful, your set goes, right? How's it been for somebody that does so much live music going through COVID and not being able to perform in front of anybody? You've made some adaptations, you've put out some really cool projects, but what's it been like not being able to be in front of people live or being able to be in the studio with people?
Just immensely missing it. The feeling of being on the stage and definitely the feeling of collaboration live like that is just an amazing feeling. It's irreplicable. Can't really duplicate the thing.
There's like a magic up there that happens.
Yeah,
it's like lightning. It just,
the beauty of live is that once you sang that note, once you kicked that rhyme, once you played that riff, it's gone. You can't get it back in the live, right? So I think that's the magical thing. Is that you had to be there to experience it, kind of thing, right? It's there's some kind of irreplaceable feeling of having that moment and doing it. So it's definitely a struggle, and I think I share it with so many other musicians who I collaborate with and play with regularly. Is that we miss the feeling that we can have together as a group, and also the feeling we can get from connecting with people in our audience.
So has kind of being in isolation, do you think that that's kind of fed a part of your creative side, or do you think it's been more of a detriment in some ways?
Well, there's certainly some silver linings with it. I think it's certainly fed in not being such a busy performing artist now and not gigging, sometimes handfuls a week. It's allowed me to just write and focus a lot on writing and composition, way more than I would say, the past handful of months. One, just being because of available time, and I think maybe two, because of the reflective nature of what's going on in the country and in the world. So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful to just kind of have more moments of kind of like introspection and inspiration to create. Because being a busy, on the go musician, whether that was going to studio sessions or going to do gigs, at times would feel like I wouldn't get those moments to isolate and go and make something and create something of my own.
I feel that.
It's like you get those moments. I mean, for me, I'm fortunate. I feel like I do get to create something every time I go on stage, because even if it's not me playing my own music, and it's like, I'm playing other popular songs, I still feel like I get ways to interject and express and bring something that feels original for that particular instance.
Have you been working on a particular project through all this? Right
now, I'm actually in the midst of trying to create two simultaneous projects right now.
Okay.
One is a solo hip-hop jazz kind of collaborative album, and the other is a solo piano album.
Wow. Okay. Tell me about the difference between trying to write a piano song versus trying to write a hip-hop song. Like, what's the process like? How does it differ? Does it all start at a similar place, and how do you know whether to take that song and transfer it over to piano, or vice versa, take that song and turn it into a beat or some sort of a project?
That's a fantastic question. Yeah. I think thematic content certainly sways me to go into just reserving it for the piano or making it some more full-fledged beat, and maybe ultimately with an accompanying set of lyrics. I think there's a certain element I get out of playing solo piano and writing things for just me to play on that instrument, and I think one of those elements that really drives it is improvisation. Feeling like in the process of writing it, I think asking myself the question of, do I want to eventually take this given melody I've created and these given harmonic changes and chords and eventually improvise and create solo expression already on top of a a composition.
Yeah.
And if it's not that feeling, if I feel like maybe I have something more vocal and verbal to say, I might change the process, maybe abbreviate it more, and I think and then go that direction, and maybe start writing, and then just start finding sounds on the software or on or on other synthesizers and boards I'm playing. So maybe at times I think I come up to a fork in the road of composition, but I do find myself, I think, in terms of writing things for just piano, I find myself being maybe a little bit more detailed and maybe not even detailed things, but maybe just being more of in an elaborate state.
Well, I was gonna ask, like, when you're doing some like instrumentals, especially on piano, does it allow you to kind of be a little bit more emotional than you can be than with words? You know what I mean?
I think so.
There's like a certain depth. Like, I feel like, because sometimes I like to just listen to piano just to, if I'm relaxing or if I'm trying to study or something. And, sometimes you listen to it and it tells you a story, and you go to a certain depth that it's really hard for songs with lyrics to kind of like give you that same emotion or that same, some things just hit you deep, you know what I mean? So
totally agree.
Yeah. I don't know. I love have you ever heard of, oh man, what's his name? Chris Bodie?
The trumpet player.
Oh man, I watched him like play on like some PBS show live. Mm-hmm. And
he's done a lot of jazz collaboration too with notable jazz artists, but he's like classically trained.
Okay. Because like there's a song that he does with this I think she's a violinist, and I'm just like, man, it takes you to a deep emotional place, and it's hard to explain. You know what I mean? It's just something, I don't know. I almost feel like I feel it, but I almost feel like I see it at the same time too. You know what I mean? I think like that has a lot to do with like in the movies, how important the score is, and I think that a lot of people kind of really underestimate how important that is to draw out the emotion in a movie, but. Yeah,
I agree. Yeah, I mean I think with folks that make art, on their instruments, they're not vocally inclined to express, but they're expressing their instrument. I mean, that's a voice.
Yeah,
and in musicians, I really admire and enjoy listening to. I feel like I get to know them better through their instrument than when they actually speak and give answers to questions or whatever, right? Because I think it's
definitely
like when that listening experience, you're becoming familiar with that person or those people playing, right? And you're becoming more of the more intimate character of who they are.
Yeah.
And I think I experienced that for sure. I think there's ways I can just communicate or express what I want to express just off of playing, rather than going into the lyrical side.
Yeah. And then now speaking about lyrics, one of the things that I wanted to talk about since you came in was recently you wrote some things pertaining to just everything that's going on right now, and I read the lyrics, you know what I mean, and I felt like it was really asking more so questions than it was giving out any type of answers, but for some reason they decided to kind of censor you. For me as a content creator, somebody that speaks to people, that ability for freedom of speech and freedom of press is really important. Freedom of press is really important to me. So, like, what are your thoughts about everything that kind of transpired on, what was it on? It was on Instagram, right?
Yeah. So I released a song in early May called "The Accessory," and it's just a 1:44 song. No chorus or anything. It's just a straight verse from the beginning to the end of that time. Just really sounding off on what's been going on with the coronavirus in the country and sort of how I think there's a lack of accountability of how it happened, why it's here, what's the motivations for why it's still around, or is there
even
motivation,
the reporting on it,
or even
too.
especially the reporting on it, and and kind of just also kind of doing like a timeline, if you will, of like events that took place because of it, or maybe what led up to it, like this whole outbreak.
Yeah.
And it's funny, my fiance said, when I recorded and finished it, she said something to me like to the effect of, just be ready for what might come in response to it and things like that, and even caution me, so be careful.
Yeah.
And I didn't get anything to the effect of like being censored or flagged when I released the song and it made it to Spotify and Apple Music and wherever else you find streaming songs. But recently, another a friend of mine, a DJ, or a DJ couple. They're called the Soulmates, and I did a performance on there. Yeah. Soul, but SOUL,
Yeah.
Soulmates, and they spin soul music a lot. They're a DJ couple,
That's tight.
husband and wife.
That sounds
and
tight.
I was on their live stream event that they did. I think this was back in mid-July.
Okay.
And I did a performance, and I performed this song that I'm talking about, the Accessory, and my homie Mike, who's the husband in the DJ duo, he said, you should make those lyrics available to be viewed in print, so that because when he was hearing it and he was listening to me kick the song, he's like, you said a lot there in that minute and a half's worth of music, so maybe you might want to have that so people can kind of slow it down for themselves and run it back like that. And so, I thought, okay, maybe that's something I need to go forth with. So I ended up putting it on Genius and then posted the screenshot of the lyric. And wouldn't you know, the Instagram fact checkers, they call themselves, went ahead and started to censor and flag it so that people could still go on and see the post, but in the preview square, it's all grayed out with this diagonal slash through it.
That's what I say. Yeah.
Right, to signify that it's flagged content or whatever. And
what was their reasoning for that? What did they give you?
There's some sort of fine print there that says our fact checkers went over this content and that your post contains material that is of false statement or false information about COVID-19.
Yeah.
And
I don't think you were giving out any facts.
See, I don't think so too.
I think you were asking questions.
Yeah.
And that's why when I read through it,
and it was a little. Now I will say I did give that kind of like the giving questions and things, but you could even maybe say that I was a little accusatory, if you will, of some things, and
which is fine because we're in America.
Exactly. So we should be able to
question
the powers, right, and make some statements on what we're feeling and experiencing.
Yeah. Because what I read through it was I don't remember exactly what I was saying. It was trying to say that that the timeline that you gave basically doesn't fit with what actually transpired, and I just really didn't understand what was going on because I was like, nowhere in here does he say that this happened, this happened, this happened. He's just questioning kind of the the intent of the people that are giving us our news or giving us our, telling us all of our mandates, things like that. It didn't seem like you were trying to say that something specifically was happening. You know what I mean? Just kind of questioning authority.
Yeah.
And, that kind of just makes me fearful for what could happen with social platforms. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Especially when people get deplatformed all the time for, their views, which no matter what side you lie on, I think that everybody should have the right to have their opinion. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah, I just thought that was kind of foul, and I just didn't like the whole way that went down. You know what I mean?
It's interesting. I guess it kind of just, makes the story that much juicier.
Yeah.
About like, oh, man, did you hear what was on the song? And that, like, Instagram said, they weren't having it, so now now your content's being over here scrutinized and flagged. But I don't know. I guess it's almost maybe in some ways it resonates with me as like, well, all promotion is good promotion or what have you, because I don't know. I mean, maybe it's not every so often you come across, at least on social media, that you come across this post that you can't just go ahead and pop it open right away. You got this sort of warning here or whatever. So
meanwhile that they got, everything all out for everybody to see. You know what I
True.
mean? With everything else going on, you could see anything under the sun pretty much under there, but you can't see somebody's lyrics. That's interesting.
Maybe they know something that we don't want us to know.
I wouldn't say I'm a conspiracy theorist, but there's some things that make you just kind of raise your eyebrows and scratch your head a little bit, like, what's really going on? But I don't know. That's about as deep as I need to get on that one, right? Nah. But I just feel like it's important for us to just have the ability to speak our mind, or even if you don't want to speak your mind, even if you want to keep your ideas to yourself, like you shouldn't be scrutinized for having those thoughts. You know what I mean? But on a good note, I did see that you also released another project today. It wasn't through Zoom. It was, you guys kind of recorded it all separately and then were able to mash that together. What was the name of the group?
Yeah, the group's called the iLLiancee.
The iLLiancee.
Yeah.
Yes. That's kind of a cool name, especially with everything going on.
Yeah, this is a crew that I've been rocking with for years now.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, going back to the gig life topic too, this was a group that for the last several years I've been one of the busiest with, because we play every Sunday night at the 55 South Bar and Lounge in downtown San Jose.
Okay.
And so we've had a residency there since, I want to say, 2013 or so.
Is that who you played with when you did your October?
The guitarist in that group, he's part of that.
I recognize him on his solo.
Mm-hmm. That's Brian Shue.
That's the sax player on the iLLiancee. Man,
Lionel
he was
Briones,
bad.
Man. Yeah. So the crew is the couple folks you mentioned now. So Lionel Briones, he plays saxophones, and Brian Shue plays guitar.
Okay.
And our homie who plays trumpet in the group, Bernard Sapatola, he didn't have his sound equipment all assembled yet to do musically anything on the project, but he cut it and edited it. He's another just kind of dude of many chops. So
that's another art. That's an art in of itself.
Oh, you already know, man. I've got, especially in the shelter in place times, I found a new appreciation for film and editing and things like that, just to see how the visual things we enjoy in media, in music, in movies, right, in shows.
You've been active doing videos of you playing throughout all of this.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you've been really out there putting up a lot of content.
Yeah,
man.
But yeah, we did a cover of Redbone, the Childish Gambino song.
Yeah.
Myself and
I
the
think
cats I mentioned, Ed Pasalo, Javier Torres. Yeah,
I think maybe we could play that. You think they'd be cool with us playing that for the guests?
By all means, man. We could totally throw that in the mix.
Okay, cool. Well, you know what? We're gonna go ahead and play that for you guys right now. We'll be right back. Okay, Talkingshift.
I'm like Kanye, I never know the impact of consequence. In my own world, staggering through the metropolis. I'm way behind in generating my lectures, and I'm supposed to be a steady college professor. Crash a party when...
Talkingshift, and we're back. We had the iLLiancee, Redbone. Is it a remix? It's
just a cover, yeah. Our Redbone, basically, not stay woke, but stay home. For COVID.
Yeah, stay
but you
home
better stay woke too out in this,
Rona.
right? Too. But yeah, our Redbone cover that has been a fan favorite.
Yeah,
usually a crowd pleaser when we do it for different shows.
So, have you guys? Is that a song that you guys play often? Because that one seemed pretty polished. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's a good observation of it, bro. Like I said, really when the tune first hit, I think this is 2016, 17.
Yeah.
I want to say is when that song first came out. And we kind of all learned it separately when it first came out. And tried it out on a gig at whatever point that was. Soon after it was really picking up steam.
Is that before you even practiced it?
Yeah,
You guys just kind of just tried it out?
Yeah, we did. We kind of all touched base with one another. I mean, here comes kind of this hip hop and jazz, fusion. Keep coming back to this again, but it's a very sort of like jazz-like approach where it's like a tune that a bunch of people have already heard a recording of before, have had some individual attention on it to practice it and know a structure and know the chord changes and things, so we can kind of like sort of give the nod, to each other, the silent nod to be like, okay, we could do this, we got this. And yeah, we've been able to play it and people like it. It's like, especially when we play it for a crowd and nobody up on stage is actually singing the vocals, right? We're all doing the melody instrumentally. That basically
everybody
allows
kills
the crowd
it too.
Thank you, man.
Everybody kills it. Every part of that song, like when you guys were doing it, like I keep on saying it, the sax and the guitarist, I really was like, I was like, damn. But I mean, everybody, even the drums, drum solo, everybody had.
Everybody
in
that crew, man, is just a fantastic player.
How did everybody meet?
Like
how did that all come together? Did you guys go to school together? How did that happen?
Yeah, I mean, I've known kind of everybody in that group from sort of different walks.
Okay.
And it's all kind of came together as this one particular band. Like the guitarist, he and I have played in another group together called The Bad Ones, and we cut an album 4 years ago together.
That was the jazz group?
Yeah, it's a kind of that jazz with some soul roped in, a little bit of hip hop roped in. So I played with him, and he and I were we just missed each other at San Jose State. I think he had just started to finish his degree there when I had finished my grad school education there. But we've known each other in the South Bay for a long time. The saxophonist and the trumpet player, I first met them when a different group I was with back in like 2012 called Soulful Obsession.
Okay.
We had the idea of bringing horn players in to kind of round out some of our live shows. So these cats, Lionel Briones, who plays saxophones, and Bernard Sapatola, who plays trumpet and flugelhorn, I initially met them.
Wait, what was that last one?
Flugelhorn.
Yeah, what is a flugelhorn?
Flugelhorn is like a trumpet,
but
with kind of a darker, almost like whispery tone.
Okay. I gotta go look that one up.
Yeah, and the shape of it, like a trumpet, is kind of the more sort of narrower shape, if you will. But a flugelhorn kind of has this more rounder middle, and the bell of it is a little different.
Is that what Ryan Leslie was playing in? Do you remember when he was doing? Who were we talking with last time that we were talking about? Nomadic.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever watch Ryan Leslie like doing his making his beats back in the day? That was early like YouTube days.
Yeah, right.
I think was that what he was playing, or was he just playing a little trumpet?
Gosh, I'd have to go back and look at the footage of that.
I think it was gibberish.
If it was of a kind of softer tone, like less bright than a trumpet, then it was probably flugelhorn.
Okay. Yeah. I gotta go back. I gotta go check that one out, man. Yeah.
But yeah, those two cats, Lionel Bernard, I met them in that scenario with this other crew I played with back in the day and cut records with, Soulful Obsession. And then the bass player, and I don't know if you noticed, actually, we don't have a typical bass player. We have my homie who starts out in the video in the middle square. That's Ed Pasalo.
Mm-hmm.
He plays a keyboard where he splits it and plays left hand keyboard bass and right hand like electric piano chords or melodies. So he's kind of rolls double duty. Yeah. And he's also, and he got his start basically as a DJ. He'll be the first to attest, like he plays keyboards like he DJs, and he DJs like he plays keys.
I mean, I can see that.
Yeah. I met him when before I was actually a part of the crew, and I was just kind of coming in and sitting in and doing stuff with them, and I wasn't really part of the steady performances. I just met Ed just through those times with the group, and the drummer who's on that Redbone, his name's Javier Torres, and I met him because he and another drummer, Steve and Kaku, would go kind of back and forth. Like Steve was the one that actually kind of started the project, and Javier would sub for Steve for other shows and things when Steve wasn't able to make it and things like that. So and that crew is actually, we've employed several other drummers at times, and other horn players and other vocalists. So there's kind of this core of it, but really like the whole kind of nature of the iLLiancee is that it can be a kind of
It's like the
differently,
Avengers.
yeah, it's like Avengers. Right? It could be a differently filled roster at
Yeah.
times. When we want to feature certain people or when we need to make substitutions for certain things, when either availability or conflict, with time happen or whatever. So it's become more of a flexible kind of ensemble.
That must be invaluable to have like a group of people that that could blend so well,
Yeah.
with, even if it's not the whole team or even if it's these people and these people, like it could just kind of all blend together and still work. You know what I mean?
It is. It's that's a great point you bring up there, G, because the group has been able. It's funny, like it's been able to function as just like a 4-man team at times when it's just like keyboard, drums, trumpet, and guitar, right?
Yeah.
Which is like 2 less than what you're seeing on the regular kind of crew. But then it's also been able to function with like the saxophone, trumpet, and then add a trombone, and then like drums, guitar, keyboards, add a vocalist. So kind of that way, it's been really able to find ways, and still doesn't feel like it's either like too thin with a 3 or 4 person makeup, and it doesn't sound like it's too overpowering or that sounds can't stand out in like
if
an
it's
8
too
or
much going
9
on.
piece ensemble. Yeah, it doesn't feel like it's overwhelming that way.
So when you say cutting records, like are you are you actually going in old school and like cutting records?
Nah,
Have you ever done it like that? Have you ever done it live? And
I would say that's a bucket list thing to do for sure. Do a vinyl cut.
yeah, but so.
Because
Well, I was gonna ask
yeah.
how it's different, but I guess I'll have to ask you that one when you go do that one. Like that's like how Amy Winehouse did it, right?
Yeah,
she did everything live. Well, up until I think Bronson, what's his name? I forget.
Oh, Ronson.
Ronson.
Yeah,
there
Mark
you
Ronson.
go.
Yeah.
There you go. I
Mhm.
think up until then, she kind of tried to do everything. Yeah, she's. What do you think about Amy Winehouse, man? She's
Man,
like my favorite, bro.
dude. She was an immense talent, dude. Just gone way too soon.
What are your opinions on her as a? I mean, would you consider her a jazz singer?
Oh yeah, I think she. I mean, she
Jazz,
was
R&B,
jazz,
kind of.
R&B, pop. I mean, she was able to cross over really and kind of show just a wide, diverse display of skill and mastery of certain styles.
Yeah.
Because like she she could kill a pop song like doing Valerie, right? I mean, it's like that's become a
Or Rehab.
or Rehab. Those have both become just like pop standards. But then she could just do like this crazy emotional ballad of like Back to Black, which does a song like that, or like when she's done different jazz covers, when I've heard her sing like Autumn Leaves or September in the Rain.
I gotta go back and
yeah,
hear
I
this.
mean, if you go to her jazz standard catalog, I mean, she's got great control of the American Songbook. She did. I love this track she did off she did it posthumously with Nas.
Oh yeah,
Cherry Wine.
Black
Yeah,
Cherry Wine.
yeah,
I love that song.
It's
Oh my
like,
god, that's
it's,
like I know what I'm listening to on the way home tonight.
Yo,
for sure,
yeah,
for sure.
I mean, just like and it's there. I mean, that's such a perfect pairing. I feel like her and Nas. Like Nas is the son of a jazz and blues singer and jazz musician, and Amy Winehouse's long running history and affiliation and love for that art form.
That was a really good combo.
To put it in hip hop and R&B fashion, like man, it's elixir, man, for your ears.
Yes. Oh man,
Ear elixir.
I
that just came, man.
Yeah. She was. I could only imagine what would have happened, to have her. I mean, I know exactly what I'm listening to on the way back.
I mean, they say that some of the geniuses are always a little batty, right?
I you know what,
And in some ways, it
I
takes
feel
them
that.
to their early departure. But man,
I definitely, you know, what do you think that is? What do you think that is about creators, especially like, you know, like the true artists? You know, you think of people that have their troubles with, you know, you know, I don't want to say mental issues, but you know what I mean.
it's true though. Yeah.
Like Kanye, you know what I mean,
Mhm.
to you know, Amy Winehouse, to so many others. What do you think it is about the creative that kind of makes them, you know, why are those two things related? Kind of that mental illness or
Mhm.
depression, it also translates into the art form. You know what I mean? I don't know. I wonder what that is.
It's I guess it's just a lot of impactful art, and especially music, uh, seems to kind of come from a place of struggle or torment or pain, whether emotional or physical, that artists have endured,
Yeah,
whether as as kids or as they grew up or in their grown adult life. I don't know, lost love or lost family members or
have you ever wrote a song?
depression.
Have you ever wrote a song that was like hard for you to write, or you know, hard for you to perform, or
Oh
anything
yeah,
like that?
yeah, yeah.
What's
Um,
that like, man?
it's I think it's certainly channeling a I don't know, it's channeling something way down deep. Um, for me, I think that toughest song for me right now has been I usually play this. I recorded it in duo with a guitarist named Mason Razavi, and then um, sometimes we do it live together, or I'll do it solo. It's a song called "A Daughter Is a Gift to the World," and it's a song about this daughter I have out there that I've yet to meet, and that even to this day I'm still trying to hopefully one day meet her. And there's just been a lot of legal battles and issues with her mom and things like that. But when I perform it, it really becomes really kind of a heavy weight to try to execute.
Yeah,
Um,
I could only
yeah,
imagine.
because I know she's out there and she knows I exist, and just the stars having to line for one reason or another in the world
Yeah,
to get that chance to be face to face with her and start and start being a father in person to her.
yeah,
So that one I think really kind of, but you know what, I love it because it really challenges me as an artist to really control myself on my instrument while also kind of trying to let my emotions kind of just
come
run
out.
wild, yeah, and come
Yeah.
out. So there, yeah, kind of a delicate line to walk.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I think some of like the
yeah,
most poignant kind of music comes from that same type of emotion, you know, that pain or some struggle, like you know, like you talk about. You know, a lot of times lost too, you know what I mean? Especially like in hip hop.
mm-hmm.
A lot of some of the best music is about, you know, losing somebody, which
Totally.
is unfortunate, but I feel like, and I say it a lot on here, there's that creative people kind of, for whatever reason, they they're able to dig to a depth on 'em in terms of emotion that most people can't see or
Mm-hmm.
can't go to. And it's almost like they were made to be a like have music be a part of them. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Like that energy kind of just flows through you. And I always ask people like, but do you feel sometimes like the music that you're doing isn't even you? Like it's some kind of energy just kind of coming through you, and you're just kind of like the vessel.
Yeah,
Or do you feel like it's coming from your soul? It is you. Like, what do you feel?
I think I could say I've felt both of those experiences. I
Yeah.
think I have felt when it's just like it's otherworldly, and yeah, like the vessel is the right term there to put it. It's like,
Yeah.
that maybe the person executing the music or performing it or expressing it, it's only it's only something that we're visually seeing or hearing it, but it might be coming from just like higher powers that we can't fathom.
Yeah.
um and I've certainly felt that, like when I get these bouts of inspiration to create, I just do feel like it's an abundant source of kind of being driven to create.
Yeah.
And then I think there are some times when it's like I really feel like I'm just in touch with me, doing something creatively, and I'm just being true and authentic to the feeling or the topic at hand I want to cover, or just the emotional state. Maybe that's motivating me to sit down at the piano, to start penning words, to start pounding the drum machine, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you feel kind of in that creative mode, is there a place you like to start with? Like, do you like to start on the piano? Do you like to start on the drums? Or is it different every time?
I'd say it is different every time, more often than it is scripted or following a certain method.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think I get a different avenue, and I think the creative path starts to take shape and zig and zag with different creative choices I go for. Because I think sometimes I start with a phrase or something that I think, okay, lyrically I want to write that down, and then I'll find something that I feel will accompany what I'm saying. Or sometimes I'm just running chords on this piano, and I'll find this combination I like, or it's plunking out a melody, just a sequence of individual notes, and maybe there's something. Okay, maybe I'll come to maybe there's a tempo there, maybe there's a drum beat back there. I'll find maybe there's a bass line I could work out and do. I will say this: recently I've felt kind of inspired differently because I've been teaching guitar to students that a while when I was teaching in person, I was really not actually, one, very confident in doing, and two, not finding myself in very many situations to teach the guitar to students.
I didn't even know you play guitar too.
I didn't know that either.
You could pick up anything and just play it.
It
takes a little bit of time, but you can feel it out, you can figure it out.
Yeah, and I just feel grateful I've had direction from like musicians that I play with or musicians that I've taught alongside who are wizards at the various instruments that I'm only beginning or intermediate competency with.
Yeah.
So I like all credit goes to the folks that have shown me a thing or two about how to strum this G chord, where to put my hands on a bass, how to play the drum set, and have all four limbs work independently. But like I was saying,
that's tough.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know,
it certainly is.
That was the hardest thing for me. Like, I still to this day I could do like a basic, real simple beat, but anything beyond that, it's like, how do people even do this? But then I bet you they're like, I don't even know how people can fix their fingers like that. You know what I mean?
Right. It's all different physical techniques to be, to be controlling.
Yeah.
And to kind of think about and act out. But like this whole thing with guitar, like now I feel like I'm actually a somewhat decent, musician to play at least the simple stuff on guitar. And so I've found myself like messing with that, and I get a creative burst just from what I did on guitar because it feels different and sounds different than what I would have played on a piano.
Yeah.
And I guess it's almost like I have more of like a childlike fascination with this because it's the newest thing. It's kind of like, oh man, what can I explore? Like sometimes I shock myself like to see what worked or something, or to have actually figured out a way to do it and play it. Whereas like at the piano, it's been more than 2 decades for me playing this, so it's like I don't find myself as amazed, I guess, or as or as fascinated, if you will, of discovering something new on it.
I mean, it's the same. Like, I grew up doing Taekwondo. I did it for a long time,
Yeah.
right? And then that's why when you go do something new, like you do jujitsu or something, you could fall in love with it, or boxing, or whatever you transition to. Like when you do find that new next thing, it's always you know, exactly how you said it, like that childlike fascination.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you know, I think for people, if they don't have something that they're trying to achieve or learn, I feel like they're not going to be able to live a truly fulfilled life. You know what I mean? And I'm always trying to learn new things. You know what I mean? Like even for me, like through this COVID stuff, like I keep saying this too. Like I started working with leather. Like I got a fascination with it. Well, it started off, I was trying to work with metal. And I built a little forge in my backyard, you know what I mean? Just out of like a hair dryer and some coal and some bricks. But I was sitting there banging out steel, turning it into like a little rough knives and stuff. And I was like, I need to do something that's a little bit more quiet that I could do inside. And then, you know, I started messing around with leather. And it's just weird, you know, that feeling of creativity, of learning something new. A lot of people, you know, they turn into adults, they get their job, and they go to their job and they go home and then they just watch TV, or they don't have something that they're trying to do, something they're trying to learn, or not even a hobby. You know what I mean? Like how special is it being able to kind of support yourself doing your hobby kind of, you know what I mean? It's beyond a hobby, of course.
Right.
But to do something that you love, you know, something so creative, and where you still get to learn something new every day.
Right.
You know, how special is that to you?
It's a blessing, man. I count that blessing every single day. 'Cause I could have wound up in, you know, much different circumstances, and, you know, if I had not wanted to keep going to piano lessons as a kid, you know, if I hadn't wanted to be in the high school jazz band, if I hadn't wanted to, you know, go to that music camp or whatever when I was in 7th grade, then, you know, things probably would have taken a different route.
Yeah.
And I mean, and now to the point where it's like, you know, yeah, I get paid to do, you know, musical education and perform or do, you know, appearances on people's collaborations or music, but, you know, the monetary thing is always kind of an afterthought for me.
Yeah.
Because
it truly is for the love.
Yeah, I'm wrapped up in it fully. You know, spiritually and mentally and physically. I just know that I'd rather be doing nothing else.
Yeah.
This is where it's at for me.
What do you say to the kid out there that loves music and wants to pursue it, might not have somebody at home telling him this is something you could do if you set your mind to it, might be telling him, no, you need to go to school, you need to do this, you need to go get a job? What do you say to that kid, regardless of what he wants to do with music, whether it's like piano or singing or hip hop? Like, what would you say to them to kind of prepare them for the future? Not so much motivate them, but kind of prepare them for everything that's going to come, you know, the trials, the tribulations, as well as the success.
I would say just make sure the joy is always there.
Yeah.
If you lose the joy and it's replaced with stress or concern or criticism, self-doubt, then, you know, put the brakes on, you know, because that's what it's really meant to be and why it's meant to exist. I think anything artistic, I think it's just out there for the joy of the folks who are doing the art and the joy of the folks who are experiencing the art.
Yeah.
If joy is lost, then it may not be right for that individual. Because maybe they'll find something else that does create the joy or bring that joy to them. But if it's totally music and if an individual, especially someone young, kids out there, if it's music that really feels like the driving force, just be sure that the joy is at the forefront. Because, you know, like you said, there's going to be the trials and tribulations of it. There'll be struggle, whether that's, you know, technical struggle of trying to get better at your craft, or financial struggle of a gig not paying well,
or being an adult,
or being an adult, right? And struggling maybe to find time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's going to be so many rewards for it too, from the people that enjoy it to the feeling of like satisfaction of completing something, attaining a goal in that aspect.
Yes.
Just don't lose sight of the joy.
There's some real good wisdom in there from my man Bennett, brother.
Appreciate
I really
it.
like everything that you said. Where can everybody go find you online? Let them know all your social handles. We're gonna go ahead and plug the music that we said we were gonna do one more time. What was the name of the group?
The iLLiancee.
iLLiancee.
Yeah.
God, I said it. I was like, it's ill. I was like, it's on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah.
Where can everybody find you, brother?
So it's Bennett Roth on Spotify and Apple Music. However you go about streaming your stuff. YouTube, Bennett Roth, Bennett. Roth is Roth. You can find all my happenings also on Instagram at Bennett Jazz Keys. BENNETTJAZZKEYS. I am on the internet, the World Wide Web, www.BennettRoth-Newell.com. Just keep it locked for things that are out there. I think, the last time that we got down to talking, I think I had yet to put out the entire EP that eventually came a couple months after that Halloween show.
Yeah.
So that EP is available on Spotify. It's called Put It Out.
There you
it's
go.
A 4-track, just kind of compilation of things that I completed leading up to the end of December of 2019.
Okay.
So that's available out there. There's all other media with the groups I'm with, like the iLLiancee. I just was on a record that my homie Justin Engel put out called The Divine Project, which is now getting heavy rotation in the stream world. So y'all can check out that, The Divine Project. I got something coming with him too. Quarantine Chronicles that I collabed on with him is coming.
You got a lot of videos on your Instagram too,
yeah.
man. You got you put out a lot of stuff on Instagram. You kind of doing your live thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean that's been the name of the game here is trying to still stay relevant and get content out there in the social media and streaming world. I've done, I think I was mentioning earlier, like I did some live stream concerts. I did one with right at the beginning too when the shelter in place happened. I did one with San Jose Jazz.
Yeah.
For their live at home series they've been doing. And then I've done some of these other ones like with the Soulmates, the DJ Tandem. I did another with Tracy Cruz with San Jose Jazz. So yeah, I mean, there's this.
You busy?
I'm trying. I mean,
you really out there, man. You've been active.
I've been at it, man. But if it hasn't been teaching, which is still, went really strong here with what I've been doing with the Riker Center. If it hasn't been teaching, it's been just creation. So I'm grateful for that. Whether it's
hell yeah.
And I've been much more emphasizing my own original music. I mean that's
when are those projects coming out? When are you thinking?
Oh, I'm probably gonna target like February or March of 2021.
Okay.
The goal is to have both the hip hop jazz album and the solo piano album both released simultaneously.
Okay.
They've been simultaneously been worked on, and they're covering all the topics here from social justice to trying to adapt in the real world here amidst the coronavirus. I just got engaged. So
I know you said fiance earlier. I gotta say congrats, man.
Appreciate
you guys are
it,
a great couple.
Thank you.
I see how much she supports you. Everything that you got going on. She was taking some dope video I seen out there, giving me competition.
Yeah, she just released her jewelry line actually too. My fiance Valencia, y'all could plug her. She's online at shop.ode AUDE.
Okay.
On Instagram, so you can find that on IG Ode.
Get icy.
Yeah, she's doing all clay jewelry. It's handmade.
That's tight.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to do the pottery wheel.
Yeah. She wants to get a kiln, man, but I don't know if you could put kilns in Peninsula apartment complexes.
Yeah.
Exactly. You need a garage, or man, you need a you need some sort of large facility, but she's doing her thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got Gay, so there's music that's, you know, kind of talking about found love, and I don't know. I think I did a little growing up between some of these things that you know, I released in past years up to what's gonna be coming soon. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
Congrats
Hopefully
on that,
in
bro.
the early parts of 2021, first
Yeah.
quarter, hopefully 2021.
Well, we're gonna have to have you come back then, promote all the projects, since we talked about kind of the making of it.
Yeah.
We got to talk about the music once it comes out. Man, go check them out. Spotify, all the streaming spots. Show them some love. Go give them a follow on all of that too, man. Women too, men and women.
Yes,
Got to
yes,
throw
y'all.
for everybody. Like, comment, subscribe, show some love, tell a friend about us. Man, Bennett, I appreciate you coming through, man. It's always love. Hopefully they stop censoring my boy. Come on, man. Don't do him dirty like that, bro.
Oh man.
Hey,
Whatever
Talking
you gotta
Shift.
do.
GM, Charlie, we out.
Yes, sir.